Hello and welcome to another episode of Wednesday Night Undressed. I am Lou, your host, and I am joined here by the most motley of crews. We have Meredith, we have Fernando, we have Lauran, we have Anthony, we have Cassidy,
Hi.
We have Marshal, we have Chris.
Affirmative.
Mr. Ivo Ivanov will be joining us shortly. How is everybody doing tonight?
Peachy.
Good.
All right.
Sweet.
Chilling.
All right, so this is going to be an upbeat, feel-good, kumbaya kind of show. So I tried to pick
Kumbaya.
Yes. I tried to pick some of the more.
I don't kumbaya well.
That's, I don't think, a surprise to anybody here at the table, Meredith. All right, so first question. Do you have a morning mantra, or even, sometime of the day, right before you go to sleep or whatever, something that you say to yourself to get yourself hyped up or calm down or just like, direct the rest of your day? So I'll go with volunteers first. Anybody? Fernando.
Well, mantra, I mean, not really like as like a chant or a quote or like, but it's more like a routine that I really like because of the quietness.
Gotcha.
I'm always the first one to wake up.
Uh-huh.
So, no conversation. Go downstairs, pajama or whatever. Feed the fish, feed the cat, play with the cat. Fresh coffee, smoke a cigarette, read the news. Every day. Makes me feel good. And I like it that there is a contemplation because I usually do that on a porch. Doesn't matter if it's like, negative temperature or 100 degrees. I go on a porch having my coffee and cigarette and chill and look at the birds and watching the animals.
So what time do you have to get up in order to beat everybody in your house to do that?
Actually, I'm the winner. Doesn't matter what you think. Work days, it's at 6. But sometimes, like, if I have some insomnia, like, so that means, like, maybe, I woke up at 4, and then I could that maybe could be 5 a.m.
Mm-hmm.
But then on the weekends, there'll be a 9, and I'm the first one.
Wow.
It's just love it to be quiet and doing that.
And you don't have, like, a single thought that, like, permeates your morning every morning as you're doing this? Like, nothing like time to make the donuts or anything like that?
No, it's just like that. Just like if I'm outside at the same time, I'm reading the news, I'm watching the birds. There is a fox that usually crosses the street.
Interesting that you say that. I was just talking to somebody, and I was talking about the fact that we've never seen a fox in the city.
Man,
you
that
ain't
fox
been
is
to
there.
my
Like
house. I have.
You haven't?
No,
Wow.
never. Yeah.
that fox is there,
I
like
have photos on
almost
my
daily. It's so bizarre.
Mm-hmm.
And it's I'm almost on campus. Like
Right.
it's such a weird, and the fox just I don't know where they hide all the rest of the day.
Mm-hmm.
But I like that contemplation. Just see the birds, see whatever like is moving or.
Gotcha. Nice. All right. Anybody else going to volunteer before I start picking on people?
I have no mantra. I mean,
No mantra for Chris. All
my
right.
mornings are so kind of weird. I mean, I don't have a set time that I get up. Sometimes it's 6, sometimes it's 6:30. Weekends it could be, all the way down to 10 or 11 when I get up because I stayed up till like 2 or 3 playing video games.
Right.
Usually for me, though, that kind of a thing tends to be more for calming me down.
Uh-huh.
And so I have some breathing exercises and some little motions that I sometimes go through, especially like if I'm on the golf course and my game is not going the way I want it to. I have some little mantras and little things that I do to center and focus myself.
Gotcha. Very nice. I know this because Meredith and I talked about it on the ride up here. Meredith, what's your morning mantra?
Go bad bitch. Oh, and then I also look in the mirror and say, damn, I am so fucking cute.
Right.
Both of those in the morning.
I think that is the way.
If I'm not my biggest fan, who the fuck is?
Right.
You
No,
have
I
to be.
understand. I agree. All right, from the youngins, Mr. Marshall. I'm going to pick on you because you're eating right now. So that's
How
gonna
it
be
works
What do
here.
you think, Marshall?
Uh-huh.
Okay. Yeah, I have no mantra,
Mm-hmm.
but I used to like a while ago, like when I was trying to like lucid dream. Like when you repeat that you're going to lucid dream. I
Right.
did that,
Uh-huh.
but
Did it work? Were you able to?
No, that never really worked. But I did some other things that worked
Good deal.
occasionally.
Good deal. Yeah, I am a big fan of lucid dreaming. I don't know that I don't know how to not lucid dream anymore. So
I mean, when you say that, do you mean you actually try to control your dreams? Or
I don't even try anymore. It's like I am always aware when I'm dreaming. I'm always aware that.
'Cause I'm usually aware I'm dreaming, but I never try to control them. I always like to ride along and see what happens.
So I find that, like, for nightmares, that's kind of what I want to do, because I want to understand what the message behind the nightmare is, which is not a good plan because sometimes there's just no meaning. But yeah, I do that actually quite a bit, especially when I'm in the middle of a nightmare. How about Anthony? What you know good, sir?
My mantra is typically "fuck it, we ball,"
Nice.
and that's typically because when I'm awake,
Close.
I still sometimes in my sleep I still see when I got blown up,
Wow.
and so it's bright, and then I hear a crack, and then I'm up, and then my back hurts from when I got sat on my ass.
Shit.
My spine got bent into an S.
Uh-huh.
And then that's when typically everything hurts. And then I realized, damn, I got work. And then I'm up at 5, out the door at around 6 or so.
Gotcha.
And I work.
Gotcha. No, that makes a lot of sense. I mean, it goes completely against my whole theory of, like, up with people, kumbaya kind of feeling. But yeah,
I hate to be a
get
downer,
it.
but that's how it is.
I understand. I'm the
Pretty much
same
all
way.
4 years of the Marine Corps. That's
Uh-huh.
what I was like.
No, I feel you. Nope, I'm I'm going through the same thing. How about Cassidy? How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I am okay. So tell me, do you, like your mom, have a morning mantra that you say to get yourself hyped up?
I don't really say anything to myself, but I do this thing when I get to school to help me get ready for the day. So when I arrive to school, usually about 20 minutes late, I like to
She's
first
honest.
head up to the coffee shop that we have in our school, and I always get a chai. I like their caramel chais, but they are almost always out of caramel. So I usually either have to get the Lucky Charm chai or just the regular chai, but it's a little too scented for me. But anyway, after I get that, I head down and then finish the whole entire thing first hour.
Nice.
And then eat the ice in, like, later hours.
Gotcha. Miss Lauran, how about you?
I'm sorry. I'm gonna go also in a bit of like a not super touchy-feely. Pretty much every night I'm gonna be like, okay, tomorrow I'm gonna get this, and this done. And then in the morning, my joints and my nerves and my entire body will be like, bitch, you thought? Especially with the weather that we've been having recently with the low pressure we had last night. I
Right.
literally woke up this morning and everything hurt.
Mm-hmm.
Like, just the fun things of having chronic pain.
Right, yeah. No, I feel it. So for me, I think probably my wake up thing has always been, here we go again. And now it is, this too shall pass, whether it is a good morning or a bad morning. It's like, just kind of keeping that in mind is kind of where I'm at right now. So, like, I get everything that everybody's saying, except for these weirdos over here that don't have any mantra at all. You guys need to get a life. All right. Moving on. How about number 2? Why do we make nature preserves or zoos or habitats for, the mongooses, or, like, I got a buddy that's, like, grows prairie dogs down in Texas. What's up a deal?
You have a friend who grows prairie dogs?
Raises them, I guess, is probably the.
I was just
Breeds
gonna say. I mean, like, what do we just plant them in a cornfield?
Yeah.
Like, I was curious.
Well,
It's pretty much more like, maintains the land that the prairie dogs exist on,
probably
pretty much.
most.
He pays the
That's-
taxes that,
Yeah.
Okay.
Because they don't otherwise pay. Yes. So why do we do that? And I'm asking the question, like, why do we, like, as a society, put emphasis on that kind of thing? Anybody?
I would say guilt. And in some senses, for some people, being the good stewards of the earth, that kind of biblical idea. Because in one sense, it's a nice idea in terms of, it gives people a chance to see animals that they might not normally get a chance to see, like lions and elephants and, large boa constrictors and other things that it's pretty expensive to travel and see. Plus, preserve animals that are human messing about and Anthropocene, destroying their habitats.
I'm sorry, I'm just a lowly caveman. What the hell does Anthropocene mean?
Oh, it means that we are currently in the age of human beings, i.e., human beings are having the greatest effect on the Earth at this point, as opposed to like the Pleistocene era or some of the
That's
other.
when the plastic had the.
No, I can't remember exactly what all the names are, but I just remember what the Anthropocene one is about in terms of that. That's what they call it, since we're the biggest impactors of the climate in the
Gotcha.
world right now. So.
Gotcha. Fernando.
Like well, it's interesting. Like I'm wondering like when the first zoo has been created. When was? I bet it's something pre-medieval to bring an exotic animal from place A to B just to show off. But then there is the curiosity of like the natural history too. I think the concept of zoo should be extinguished. Like I don't think now we have books, we have internet. Like I think zoo should not exist. But there is also locations that out of nowhere there is exotic animals, and you gotta preserve this somehow. And to preserve,
Why do you have to preserve it?
I mean, so you wanna so for example, my cousin in Brazil, she's somehow obsessed with apes and chimp. Like she went go to Sumatra just to visit and see on the natural habitat, and then she figured out that there was like the government, there was no way, for example, like people that they get like could be a small circus that they mistreat animals. So where did those animals go? Oh, there is no space in a zoo. The zoo already has enough. So then they create like what's like
preserve or nature, place for them to go.
Then she created her own preserve, like a ONG, like a ONG, and animals that was mistreat, she bring there and treat well. Again, what is treat well? They're still caged because they gotta be caged. But they feed, they have doctors, they make sure they're healthy, make sure they're not beat, make sure they're not like being there for the show business. It's not like she doesn't sell tickets to go to her house. That's her own property, but she has the sanctuary.
Oh, yeah.
That's, I think, is the right word.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's another story, but it's a complex. I think zoos should be extinguished.
Right. So I'm kind of torn on that whole zoo being extinguished thing, because I love the fucking zoo. Like, I love being able to go see the animals. But I understand that, like, they're suffering.
It's
They're
still
like
not
in
the
their-
natural habitat.
It's
but
not the natural habitat.
They need definite reform. I mean, because I remember going to the Topeka Zoo, and even as a little kid, I loved it. But I'd look at the lions and the tigers, particularly like if you go in the July and it's hot, and they're just laying there in this kind of small cage. That if you're going to do the zoo, try to emulate their habitat as best you can.
Right.
But you're never gonna get even closer. I mean,
Yeah, but you can do a heck of a lot better than we've done in the past.
So the person that introduced this question to me posed the notion that we either do the sanctuaries or the zoos or that kind of thing, either because we are feeling guilty about the damage that we've done, or we're feeling like we can provide a better situation for either the animals or for like people in the future. And I'm curious to know like what you guys think. Meredith, you're looking at me with a seriousness that I'm not used to you looking at me with. So what you thinking?
That the concept that we are doing this to sort of preserve whatever, the second half of what you said there, is like the greatest example of human fucking narcissism, that we can take care of an animal that is made to be in nature on its own,
Right.
that we can somehow do that better for them. It's just like, incredibly human narcissism. I'm like, I can't. And then we make nature preserves because we're fucking terrorists on our own goddamn planet. And exactly what you said is why we act like we're dictators of this planet. So
Right.
that's my opinion of it.
Yep.
I mean, I like a zoo and all, don't get me wrong, but I mean, like, it's fucked up. We basically do it so that we can do what we want to do because that animal might kill us if we, you know what I mean? Like, if we don't
Yeah.
put it somewhere.
Right.
And the damage already has been done. Like for the sanctuary is almost a consequence now. What is the feeling? Like I think at the end, like my cousin, gladly she's not gonna listen and she doesn't understand the English. I think this podcast, like, it's just like she's obsessed with damn apes, and she probably get even money from the government.
Right.
She give a better life than the circus give to them. For sure she does.
Right.
But man, like, I don't know. But at the same time, what do you think? Shall she release a chimpanzee in the streets of São Paulo?
I mean, but here's the
That'll
thing.
be like a
No.
King Kong
Well, I know,
movie.
but here's like the thing. The only reason we caged them is because they were predators to us to begin with. Like,
Well, not the chimps.
I mean, not the chimp, but what I'm saying in general is like,
Or-
we couldn't contain it. It's either fighting our food chain or it's fighting whatever. It's impacting us.
Or-
So
or-
we came up with a way to contain it.
Some of it, like the tigers and the wolves and stuff, we
Oh,
didn't cage.
hold on,
we
but-
just
but hold
killed.
on. We're sponsored by the Tiger King.
Oh no!
Like, you know, it's a very nice place that they treat the animals very well. Just make sure.
No, you just didn't treat humans very well.
Right. What are you thinking, Lauran?
I don't know. I'm torn. For me, the zoo question is I don't think it's a thing of necessarily abolishing zoos altogether. But I have been to some really bad zoos that 100% should be abolished. Like, there is no way that's enough space for that creature. And, like, it's just straight up cages and stuff like that. Like, stuff like that, I think 100% should be abolished. But places like the Kansas City Zoo or, like, the Omaha Zoo even, where they, like, give them a lot of space and they try their best to emulate their natural environment and even, like, let them dictate if they even want to be seen at any point. Like, they don't tell them, oh, this is where you need to be at any time. They're like they'll just be like, okay, if this animal isn't on exhibit right now, it's because they don't fucking want to be, and you're gonna deal with it.
Right.
Yeah.
And, like, you can't really do
Come back
anything
tomorrow
about
and
that.
maybe he'll be out.
Exactly. And I think that's how it should be ran. Whereas, like, when I've been to, like, smaller towns that have zoos and they, like, just have them in cages. So, like, basically they're always out no matter what. They have, like, no nighttime enclosure, no nothing. And I'm like, that is just straight up animal abuse,
Gotcha.
in my opinion. I also think SeaWorld is animal abuse, but that's, like,
think
that's
a pretty-
known knowledge.
Yeah.
I went to SeaWorld a couple of years ago when I turned, like, around my 15th birthday, and I swear their animal show was, like, the entire show was trying to be like, oh my god, no, we're not bad, we are like Jesus. Like, that's the entire thing, because this was also around the time when Blackfish came out, so this was like them doing so much damage control for themselves in their own show, but still using animals to perform. And I'm like, you realize that that's not helping literally anything. I love a dolphin show. I love a sea lion show. And I think they're very smart creatures. And I think that it's really cool to see them do that. The problem is it can be done better than what SeaWorld does. Because, like, the Kansas City Zoo, they do sea lion shows, but their exhibit is, like, very large. They only do them, like, maybe 2 times a day at all. And, like, I've actually been there where they're like, the sea lions aren't cooperating, like, they don't want to do it today, so show's canceled.
Right.
I've seen that happen. So, like, they're not forcing these animals to do anything. It's like the sea lions are like, nah,
Right. But
we good today.
I make my children perform all the time. Like, what's the difference?
Exactly.
No, I'm joking. Anthony, because you're a farm dude, right? So you've dealt with, like, actual, like, livestock.
Yep.
So do you have a similar perspective to the rest of us, or you come at it from a completely different angle?
Humans fucking suck. First ever zoo, in my opinion, Roman Colosseum.
Right.
They would capture animals just for the pure purpose of murder and entertainment. Nowadays, I see it as...
Oh, and French menageries. Like the French
Is it your
aristocracy.
turn?
I'm just saying. I was bringing
You
it
had
up.
your chance.
Let your hubby talk. It's his turn.
Now I just see it as preservation of life. That's all I care about. My favorite animal, there's a reason I'm a Bengals fan.
Mm-hmm.
It's my favorite animal.
Mm-hmm.
Their numbers are up. Elephants' numbers are up. Rhinos are actually starting to make a legitimate comeback. The gestation period, if I'm even saying that right, I think.
Yes.
I don't know.
Yep.
I'm a Marine. I'm dumb as hell.
Mm-hmm.
On an elephant is 19 months. A lot can happen in the wild. And, I mean, keep them to a point. When they're old enough, take them back.
Yeah.
If
but
they're hurt,
uh-huh.
take care of them. But then when they're better, take them back.
Yeah, but if you take them
Unless
while
they
they're
can't.
young, they can't. Then
They have no instincts for the
Yeah.
wild,
That's
so.
what-
Yeah.
Depends on how you raise them. There are ways, particularly I
I
know
was
with
talking
birds
I
that
was
you can
mainly
use
not talking
puppets
about,
to
like,
keep
zoos. I
them
was talking about
from
how
imprinting on you.
the place in Kansas City where they try to raise the numbers of certain animals,
Right.
so they can have a comeback in the wild, even like pandas. That's all I really care
Panda.
about.
Panda.
Dude, Kung Fu
Panda.
Panda, he came like already 4 times, right? The Kung Fu Panda.
Oh my god.
Yes. Yes.
The
Uh-huh.
Clearwater
Go ahead,
place
Chris.
where winter the dolphins.
No, I was just thinking in terms of preservation, it's really interesting too when you look at some of the things that when they have rewilded. Because when they brought wolves back to Yellowstone, and not only did it affect the other animal populations, it actually affected how the Yellowstone River flowed
Yeah.
through the park and actually changed the way in which its banks were.
Right.
It's amazing how nature works.
Mr. Marshall, what do you think?
Well, for preservation, it's definitely like we
Closer,
feel.
please.
Oh, sorry,
Uh-huh.
forgot. For preservation, it's definitely about like we feel obligated to keep these species alive that we've kind of like really ruined everything for.
So what? And this is actually my buddy's question: is that guilt for the past, or is that wanting to make sure that like our children get to see our favorite animal, the Bengal? Like, is it one of those two?
Both.
Both. Well, yeah.
Or Marshall could answer since it was directed at you. Go ahead, sir.
I mean, from my perspective, it seems like the goal would just be to keep the species alive because of what our own actions.
Gotcha.
And zoos are definitely just for fun. We do it
Uh-huh.
because we can, and
Gotcha.
we want to see animals. I don't know.
Yeah. Hold on. I want to go to Miss Cassidy first. She hasn't had a chance to talk.
What was the question?
Oh my god.
Oh my God!
This was about
How
the
you doing?
Welcome to the podcast, Cassie.
Kung Fu Panda.
Okay, well, like,
flies.
Stop
people-
taking the breading off your fried mushrooms and listen.
People have talked so much about so many different topics. I lost the plot.
The question is, why do we make sanctuaries, preserves, zoos, that kind of thing? Is it guilt? Is it hoping to keep the animals that we have now in the future? What is it?
I think it's the sea animals.
I
very
think that
profound
that's,
answer,
No,
thank
so
you.
I gotta say, like when I was posed with this question, I was not happy with the question because I felt like the possible answers that my buddy gave me were either focused on something that happened in the past or something that might happen in the future, and I feel like we are way too vain of a people to have that much thought put into it. And I feel like we do it because we like seeing the fucking animals. So
Yeah.
Well,
It's
that's
like, I
zoos
don't want
specifically,
to
but
go-
nature preserve. You included nature preserves.
I don't
No,
want
no,
to go
I-
all the way
specifically.
to like the North Pole to see a polar bear.
I think that it's the same for preserves or sanctuaries or like zoos. I think that they're all like in a similar like vein. So, but that's me. That's just my. I'm sorry, Anthony. I
That's
didn't
why
want-
you're wrong.
Wait, Wait, when the poles switch in like 12,000 years, does that mean that like polar bears are gonna go to the north? The new
No.
North Pole?
You-
Or will
Oh
they
my
just
God.
will they
No,
just
no, no.
leave the
Man,
South
You think they
Pole?
live there because they like feel the magnetic pole and they're like,
You were saying, Cassie, before Evo arrived?
Yeah, I think like I thought like they just oh my God, polar bears are gonna be like South Pole.
So
Yes,
you are assuming
and
that
what about Santa Claus?
you are assuming that polar bears will not have evolved to the point where they're driving Teslas and are living in Chicago.
I hate the Cybertruck.
We all do.
Yeah, Tesla
I
won't be a
see
concern
one,
going forward.
everywhere.
Right.
Anyway, I think it's to see animals.
Oh, gotcha. Cool.
Elon Musk probably designed it on his first day doing a tutorial for Blender.
Right.
Follow him on YouTube.
That's it.
He got
That's
the
it.
idea of
Sorry,
playing
Anthony,
PlayStation 2.
I told you I was going to go back to you, and then I started talking because I like the sound of my voice. What were you going to say?
I'm just gonna go on a little rant, if y'all don't mind.
Hold on, everybody. Get
First of
comfortable.
all, all electric vehicles are worse for the environment than gasoline is, because you have to destroy a large chunk of land just to mine a lithium-ion battery. To make a Prius, battery's mined in Canada. It's shipped to Japan, where it's manufactured, and then that car's shipped wherever it's being sold. So you're destroying a lot of the environment just for one really shitty car. When it comes to aquariums and zoos, or I guess really aquariums, not really zoos, but with an aquarium, it depends on what animal you have in there. Because statistics show that if you have a shark,
They're always going to die, yep.
they're always going to die, except for a nurse shark or a lemon shark, because those are ones that are adapted to sleep. They don't move. They don't need that, which pisses me off. I forgot what aquarium it is, but they have a whale shark there. That
the
is
one in Chicago, hon?
It might be.
I
They
haven't
have
been there in a
belugas.
while, but yeah.
But that, I don't know.
Gotcha. No,
Being on a farm, it teaches you real quick about life and death with animals.
Right.
And so it's, I don't know. I have the sentiment of people piss me off.
Right.
And
People equal shit. Who sang that song?
You're looking at the wrong person.
Mr. Ivanov, how you doing, man?
Good. How are you guys?
Pretty good. We talked a little bit about the morning mantra. I got to go back and ask you that question. Do you have a morning mantra, something that you say to yourself to get the day going? Like, I look at you and I see your hat that says "Be a good human," and like that would be the perfect mantra to start your day with.
I just am so happy when I wake up. Because we die every time. It feels like you're dying when you go to sleep. You're gone from the world.
Yeah.
You know, and then you wake up and like, oh my God, I can move my toes. I can get up. I can walk. I can think. I can function. It's a freaking miracle we are alive. Each one of us. Mm-hmm. So many variables had to come together. Our parents, their grandparents, their parents had to come together. You know, it was just so many factors, and it's just a miracle to be alive, and I celebrate it every day. So I wake up, I celebrate, I'm human, I'm here, and I try to enjoy it. That's my mantra, and of course, it doesn't happen without a massive dose of coffee.
Right.
You and Fernando.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Anthony.
I kind of hate to circle back about what he said. You know, every day you wake up and when you're asleep, you slightly die. Not to get depressing or anything, but last Thursday.
Dude, we just had say something wonderful.
I know, and I'm about to
down?
ruin it.
You're gonna bring it back down?
Yeah. But
All
no,
right, go ahead,
so
go ahead.
Thursday morning, I got a call. One of my old platoon mates got in a car accident and he passed away. And then this morning, my buddy Hernandez, he passed away in the hospital from said accident.
I'm sorry, dude.
It's fragile. Life is fragile.
Exactly.
We gotta celebrate it.
Yeah.
We're here today, gone tomorrow. We've all of us have lost friends, some unexpectedly, and you know, Andy Morton was here. It seems like forever, and was immortal. It seemed like he'll never go, and suddenly he's gone and no longer here. And it's surreal, and you know, let's be happy that we're here. Hi, Alinka.
Actually, I'm gonna have her sit next to you so she has access to a mic, and I'm gonna slide over. All right, we're good. Now you have access to 2 mics. How you doing, Alena?
Good. How are you, Lou?
Pretty good. All right. So, Ivo, we had actually gotten all the way to why we make zoos, and I think so. I'm just gonna go through some of the answers that we got here. Fernando said we should get rid of zoos. Chris said we do it because we want to be good stewards or we're feeling guilty. Meredith said we do it because we realize we're fucking terrorists to our planet. Lauran said don't get rid of them, but like fix the ones that are disgusting.
Or just get rid of them, because like not every town needs a freaking zoo.
Right. And Anthony and I just kind of talked a little bit about like life in general and like what that means for, humans and animals and how.
Dodge City used to have a zoo. It had bison, cattle, kind of just Midwestern animals. But then the reason they got rid of it was because they had coyotes there.
Right.
Which should not be caged. And they got it shut down because all that they did was walk the fence.
Mm-hmm.
And then even when they got rid of it and they kind of let them all go, people just
that's what they
were
had
stuck.
learned.
They left the cage that they used to transport them, and in the field, they just went in a rectangle.
Right.
Some animals, like I said about sharks in aquariums, some animals you can, others should just be left alone.
So, and I'll just say it. It was my friend Bobby that gave me this question, and his.
That explains so much.
Right.
We know Bobby.
Is it Ricky
We
Bobby?
know Bobby.
If only it was Ricky Bobby.
Yeah. There's one or two things that are right with Bobby.
And love you, Bobby. And he basically like presented it with the notion that like we either make zoos to fix the problems of the past, the way we treated animals in the past, or we make zoos or sanctuaries or preserves to ensure that the animals that we like now are available in the future because we somehow know better than nature itself. And Cassidy gave me what for me is the best answer here, and because I asked her why we make zoos, and she says because we like to look at animals. And quite honestly, that was gonna be my answer, but she stole it from me. So I'm gonna ask you, Ivo, why do we make zoos and preserves and all that other stuff? Is Bobby right? Is it one of these two?
Bobby's never right. Don't ever say that on the air again.
No, that's you. That's never right. Bobby can occasionally be right. He's
really?
Yeah, very rare.
okay. I take it back. No.
Thank you.
All right.
Let's ask Mary that question.
I like Cassidy's answer because we like to look at animals. That's why one of the popular TV shows is the Kardashians.
Oh.
But no, I think there's so many. It's a very nuanced question. There's so many reasons. Really, one of them is a lot of animals are endangered by extinction caused by us, by the way. And so now we are panicking, and some species we're trying to save by giving them artificial environment because they don't have a natural environment anymore. We've taken over, and they cannot survive without us giving them that opportunity, which is horrible because it's not a natural environment. So when I go to the zoo, and I occasionally go, I like the Kansas City Zoo the best because of all the zoos that I've seen, it gives the animals the most space. Much more than the San Diego Zoo, the famous San Diego Zoo, or even the Omaha Zoo. And I think the reason maybe is that there is a lot of space here in the Midwest. There's just space is cheaper.
Fine point. Yeah.
And if you try to San Diego, New York, Washington D.C., these are famous zoos that are very, very small, and animals are claustrophobic there. They exist in very small spaces. So I think the Kansas City Zoo does what they can really well. They've given sanctuaries that are very big to the animals, a lot of space. There's an African savanna, and it really is. It's enormous, where animals can run. Giraffes can run and run and run and exercise. The elephants, we recently went with Jamie. I don't know if Alena came, but the elephants, I was surprised. They've expanded their sanctuary to a point where they have an enormous walking route and can walk for miles. And they have like 6 or 7 elephants now. At the same time, I come close to some animals like the hippopotamus there and the gorillas, and I
Hippopotamus.
Goddamn
hippopotamus.
yeah, hippopotamus. Why? Mud the flippin'. That was Flight of the Conchords, by the way, a reference. But when you get close, it feels like watching the animals from up close is kind of a study in depression. I could see in their eyes. I could see sadness, depression, resentment even. It is sad going. It makes me sad going to the zoo every single time. Alinka?
I didn't hear everybody like expound in person, but I think what you are saying ties really well into Chris's theory about like our obsession with stewardship, because your idea too was that like we have this idea that the animals, especially if we've bred them in captivity, are going to have like an inability to survive outside of the zoo, and often the justification people have for the zoo is that they're like rehabilitating or helping animals that wouldn't otherwise survive in the wild from like various species. And it's this like we have like this obsession with saying that we can like curate or like protect or like steward every single species like within the planet, and that we're doing it correctly, even though often we end up like destroying the environment and putting these animals in like really horrific conditions. Not that it would be easier for like a passive or like physically injured tiger to survive in the wild, but like we have this idea culturally that it's like our place to stop those animals from living in those environments and protect them in worse environments.
Yeah.
At the end, the zoo is a prison. I mean, they're all beings. We're never gonna get a poll for the animals. Okay, are you happy living here in the KC Zoo, or on the Omaha Zoo? It's just I think that habitat should not exist. It's just like luxury of exotic. Like if you cannot see animal, I mean,
Dude, have you not watched the polar bears frolic at the Kansas City Zoo? Like,
no.
Yeah.
I never been to Kansas City Zoo.
have you really not ever been?
Yeah, no, never.
I know what we're doing the
pretty
next
impressive.
podcast.
Right? We're gonna have to do it right there in front of you.
The penguin sanctuary is incredible.
It is.
And
I
the
like the
aquarium
bears.
is amazing.
I've been to the aquarium
I
in
miss
Baltimore, and they've
Nikita.
got a
They had
huge
Nikita when they first
penguin
opened.
habitat
Oh,
in the
habitat.
building. Oh, it's wonderful to watch them just swim around.
If you were there
Oh,
when it
yeah,
first opened, it
it's
was Nikita.
beautiful. It's worth going. It's
Yeah.
worth going, but it's dark.
It can get dark, like really, like especially when you're watching like the predatory animals, like you were saying, Anthony. Like, there's just something difficult about seeing, like, knowing that you're looking at like a lion and that they are confined to this space, even though it's a giant space. And like, I have a memory of when they went from the tiny little cage to the like open preserves, but you still know that if this was like in Africa, that lion would travel like miles.
It's
and
just
miles
such a
every day.
diminished majesty.
Yeah, yeah.
Diminished Majesty, great name for a rock band.
I think so.
New band name called it.
Alena, I didn't get to ask you if you had a mantra that you said to yourself every morning or every evening.
A mantra?
Yeah, just something that says to either hype you up for the day or, calm you down at the end of the day or.
I'm trying to think if I have like a genuine one, because all I was going to say is like, please, please, please don't let this be a horrible day.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
I'm trying to think if I have like a genuine.
So just to let you know, at least half of these guys didn't have one. So, yeah.
I think I do use the word. It's weird. I use the word elucidate sometimes, but it's something that like
I'm a lowly caveman. You got to tell me what that means.
just to like explain in more detail. But it's like it's not a word I use a lot, and I learned a mindfulness like technique where you can do like muscle relaxation and pair it with a word that you don't use a lot, and then you'll like feel immediately calm. So it's sort of like pairing a mantra with muscle relaxation.
Yeah,
So, like,
that was
for
my
me-
response. I don't have a mantra that I get up in the morning. I have relaxation techniques to help me out when I'm nervous, or particularly it comes into play when I'm playing golf, and I've had a bad shot and I need to buck myself up, and I say, okay, you got this, you can do it. Easy swing, don't try to kill it. That kind of stuff.
Cool. All right, let's move on to the next question. Think of your best day that you can remember as a kid. What made that day special? So, nobody's jumping on this, and when I showed this question to Meredith, she had to think about it for a hot minute. Anthony.
Mine's the worst, so I'll get it out of the way.
Okay.
I was 21 years old. I just finished Marine Corps boot camp, and I heard my dad say, "I'm proud of you" for the first time in my life.
Dude, I am. Man, I don't know how to respond to that because me and my siblings had a very, very similar conversation recently. So yes, but I understand what you mean.
No,
So
it was so bad. My wife was there.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't talk to her first. I talked to my dad because I want, and that's when he said it.
Right, right.
I'm still mad about this, by the way. Because, you'd think you'd walk up to your fiance you haven't seen in 3 months first, but, whatever.
It's like I so.
All my
That's
dad,
because I found you first and
all my
led you
dad
over.
did growing up was talk about his time in Vietnam. And I
Right.
was like, okay, what do you think of me now? And he's like, proud of you. And I was like, hell yeah.
Yeah, no, dude,
Finally.
we're gonna have to talk after this.
Yep.
Okay, all right. Let's let other people talk. All right, Chris, go ahead.
I don't really have one specific day from that was the best. But the days that I remember that I cherish are those days that I was off by myself. So the days that I was at Grandpa's and I was in the Sunfish all day long on the lake, or the time that he got the ice boat and I was out on the lake on an ice boat, pulling it up on 2 skis, leaning way back. The times running around Manhattan, Kansas on my own, on my bike, with my friends, just going wherever the hell we wanted, doing whatever the hell we wanted.
So you weren't by yourself, but you didn't have adult supervision.
Yeah, there's no adult supervision.
Gotcha. I feel that. I can feel that. Meredith.
Okay, so I like to give it up to my parents because I apparently had a pretty good childhood because I can't think of the best one. I remember the worst one, the worst day. Clearly.
We're not talking about that.
I'm not talking about. I didn't say I was fin to. I just said I remember that clearly.
I don't need you to take.
Okay,
a whole
do you want to take
step
this outside?
Back. I actually don't. No, I think I'm good.
No, I had a couple of really good memories. I got to carry the Olympic torch when I was 8 years old. Lou said you would be interested in that one.
Wow. Nice.
And I have a couple of really specific memories with my mom. One day we were on the way home from high school. I don't even remember what we were doing, but I just remember we were jamming out to "Best of My Love" by The Emotions, just rocking out on the way home. That's a pretty solid one. And then of course with my dad, every Wednesday was Dad's Day, and not that my parents were separated. That was just the day I spent with him. To be clear, but he used to take me what we called exploring every Wednesday, where we just went down any and every single dirt road he could possibly find. And there was this one day that we were just dirt roading it with the boys, and we ended up somehow on a walking trail at Camp Nash. That was pretty solid.
Nice.
So,
Good
yeah,
deal.
that was a
Good
good one. Yeah.
I think I know for sure that Marshall's had at least a chance to think about this. So, Marshall, have you come up with your best day as a kid?
All my, I might have been able to answer this pretty easily a couple years ago, but for some reason all of my memories have just started to go away. So it's kind of
Hence
difficult
the
for
list.
me.
You have started the assassin training, and they're just taking that part of your brain out, and so
that's really what's happening.
I'm familiar. I'm familiar.
I think it's the testosterone.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah, concentrating on boobs.
I think it's
feel
growing.
that.
Same.
That is my daughter's boyfriend. Please no.
Go ahead, Alena.
I think it could also partially be growing up with dual modes of socialization that are and dual modes of understanding the world to even more of an extent than me for younger kids, and kind of having these linguistic worlds mixed up with your lived experience. So I don't know though. I'm just guessing.
So, what about you?
I have a great memory. When I was 4 years old, I woke up and my dad had kidnapped my Mr. Potato Head,
I remember this.
was my absolute favorite toy growing up.
Right.
And he made a ransom note for the Mr. Potato Head. So I woke up and I thought that the toy had been kidnapped, and then he took me on a scavenger hunt throughout the entire city, through like downtown Lawrence. He had talked to all the business owners in downtown Lawrence and hidden riddles in every business that we used to walk through when I was a kid. So there were like riddles hidden in the businesses, and I had to solve them to figure out like where they were hidden and what the next place was for us to like go investigate. I felt like Sherlock Holmes all day long. I felt like so great. And we ended up finding the Mr. Potato Head behind a bag of potato chips at the Quick Shop. It was just absolutely magical.
That's awesome. So, Ivo, no matter what greatest day you had as a kid, it can't compare.
It can't. No, it can't. I'm so glad Alinka remembers this. A lot of effort went into engineering this scavenger hunt, but it was beautiful, and that's what I was hoping for, that it's gonna make a great memory.
Right.
And it did. Amazingly, it did. It's been so many years. It's been quarter of a century since then, and she remembers it. That's beautiful. I do have
That's beautiful how you are as a dad. That's awesome. That really is. That's super cool.
Thank you. Well, I remember very well my best day because I actually wrote an entire story about it. No, not the boots. It was we had a circus in my city in Sofia that was always there. Just a beautiful building, and it was called the National Circus. And the circus was considered an art form in Bulgaria and in Eastern Europe, really. And those were called artists, the people that participated in the circus. And I would very rarely go to the circus, but it wasn't far from our house. And I remember I was almost 9 years old, and it was on a Friday, and my dad surprised me and took me to the circus. And we went, and it was absolutely magnificent. It was magical. The performances, the clowns, the acrobats, the animals, everything was absolutely amazing. And then I was euphoric, and we stepped outside with my dad, and it was snowing. And that was the first snow of the year. So it was December. I had no school on the next day. And we had about a mile walk home on this beautiful, fluffy, amazing snow. And I swear, I remember like the street cars with the sweaty windows, and it's like the quietest thing you ever hear is the snow falling at night. It's just the most beautiful thing. And I remember almost every step I took on that like virgin snow. And my mom and dad were young. My mom was waiting at home. It was dark. It was snowing. There was no school the next day. Our apartment was warm, and I was looking forward going and having dinner with my parents. All of my grandparents were alive. It was just this magical, like my future was ahead of me. So many mysteries, so many beautiful things awaited, so many great things. And I had so much to look forward to. The snow, the circus, my father, everything came together to make this one memory that otherwise seems like something trite, but it stayed with me. And so why did I realize it was a special day? Well, I had a situation about 10 years ago where I almost died. I was playing soccer, and I got hurt during the game. My lung deflated, and I decided to drive myself to the emergency room, and then I lost consciousness.
His lung was deflated, so he drove himself to the emergency room.
Just want to make sure we got that detail.
But I didn't know. I didn't know at the time. I just couldn't breathe well. So I got on the car, and I lost consciousness driving.
Shit.
And then I called 911, but I couldn't explain anything. I couldn't talk. So they triangulated me and found me and all that. But there was about 10 minutes where I was not exactly conscious, and I reverted to that day, to that evening. To everything. So I felt like I was there with my dad, holding my hand, walking from the circus to home, and the snow was falling. And I think that day freaking saved my life. I don't know. It helped me breathe, and it calmed me down. And then, the ambulance came. Jamie met me at the emergency room, and they did the procedure and saved me. But it was a close call, and the surgeon said it was a close call. But that was an amazing day, and it stayed in the memory bank. It's I saved it in the hippocampus, and I didn't even know it.
Nice.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Miss Cassidy, what's your best day? When I asked you this in the car, you were like, I don't know. So what do you got to say now?
I don't know.
All right.
Do you have one?
It's still not there.
No.
Happened, maybe.
I have this vacation that I really liked this one time.
Where was it to?
Colorado.
Nice.
What did you do in Colorado?
I don't
the weed
remember.
wasn't legal there, right?
What?
The weed wasn't legal yet when you went there, right?
It was upsetting.
Okay, yeah.
But I don't know. It was with my grandpa and my grandma and me and my mom and probably some other people. I don't remember.
It was just the four of us.
But
yeah,
it
no,
felt
I meant
good.
but we saw other people. I don't remember who or what we did or basically anything about that trip. I just remember that it was fun.
Good deal. Good deal. Fernando, what about you?
What?
Best day.
Man, there were so many. Like it's funny days, memorables. Like a lot of things on my. Like when I was really young, I barely remember. But I remember so sometimes just a simple small act of some old fella or uncle or a friend of just give me a chocolate bar. I can still print in my head. Don't remember who the person was. I remember, but I remember the time. I remember start skateboarding. I remember meeting Nick Cave. And that was funny, because I was probably 8th grade or just started freshman high school, and that place. Once upon a time, he lived in Brazil. He married with someone there, and this bar was a matinee thing on a Sunday. The grow-ups and some badass bands be there on a obscure downtown São Paulo. And I approached Nick Cave, and I say, "Hey, Nick Cave, nice to meet you. I'm Fernando." I think he just say, "Hey, cheers." Yeah, at least he just say, "Fuck off."
Right.
He shake my hand, so take that.
Yeah.
Nice.
I think the only other person besides me is Lauran. She just stepped away. So, go ahead, Anthony.
I don't know if it's exactly her favorite. She was kind of talking about it, but I do know a memory she talks about all the time. It's when she was living in Kansas City. She's at her grandma's house. Brother Bear had just come out, and their kitchen and living room, there was no separation, so it was like a straight shot. She would scream the line that Coda says, "I'm a raging ball of brown fur," and roll from the living room through the kitchen and out the back door.
I really needed to hear Lauran say that, though. But yes, that's awesome. That's fantastic.
She was talking about something else. I wasn't exactly listening because somebody cut me off. Somebody cut me off, and I was a little upset.
I understand.
But yeah, that's just a memory.
All right.
that
We will
is very fond of
confirm
hers.
that with her when she gets back.
When Lauran was a kid, she was often here, and we were playing trivia every Wednesday, and she was always here from a very young age, and freaking participate in the trivia and answer questions.
Yeah.
She was brilliant. So I wonder if she remembers some of these days, but
Miss
they were-
Lauran.
Okay,
you
y'all
are-
stop talking behind her back now.
We are talking about you, and Anthony told us what he thinks your favorite day is, but tell us what your favorite
I actually
day is.
want to know what he thinks it is.
The raging ball of brown fur.
It's not. That is a fond memory of being at my great grandma, who my middle name is from. That is me running around pretending to be Coda from Brother Bear. I
Right.
do remember that. Funnily enough, the only memories I can actually remember are the ones before my sister was born. Weird. But I think this is kind of like one of the first full memories I have where it's not just snippets.
Uh-huh.
And it was my 4th birthday, If you guys know it, Deanna Rose Farm out in Overland Park.
Yeah.
My parents had scheduled to go to Deanna Rose Farm. We got there, we got everything set up. It started raining. And their birthday things are outside. So we had to pack everything up really, really fast and figure out what to do because we're like 20, 30 minutes from our house. And so like going back to our house wasn't like really the best option. And thankfully close by there was a McDonald's. And any like younger people like sitting at this table might not remember when McDonald's Play Place was like the shit to have your birthday party at. And McDonald's used to charge you for like having your birthday at the Play Place. My mom got there and she explained to them the situation, and the people at that McDonald's were actually nice enough to let us have my birthday party there for free because they understood like this is what happened. It started raining. It's not going to stop for like hours. And like, this is my child's 4th birthday. Like, please. And like, they very nicely let me have my birthday there. We did eventually go back to Deanna Rose Farm. I did get my birthday there, but like, it was kind of, I don't know. I think it was kind of the first time I experienced like human kindness, I guess, was that they let us have my birthday there free of charge. And it ended up being like a really great birthday. I got a tiara, so that was fun. And
I'll let you borrow mine if you don't have one right now.
I don't know why that's like my first full vivid memory, but it is. And then I have other memories from the Deanna Rose Farm in general. So like when I was thinking about this question earlier, I was like, the Deanna Rose Farm is the thing that comes into my mind the most. Truthfully, as like things that made me happy. And then again, I can't remember happy memories past when my sister was born.
Mr. Anthony.
On a little bit of a lighter note, I remembered one. It's gonna sound like it starts off bad, but it's actually really funny. My grandma, she had leukemia, so she was on a lot of medications and everything. And there was one Thanksgiving where in Southwest Kansas, my dad, his siblings, all around grandma, talking to her, asking her how she's feeling, what her white blood cell count is. And as she's talking, she just slowly pours herself a glass of wine, and my Uncle Lee goes, "Mom, are you sure that's okay?" And my grandma, the bad bitch that she actually was, drinks it and says, "At my age, I don't give a fuck," and then proceeds to outdrink everybody.
Nice.
My Uncle Fred is passed out on a folding table in the garage like this, and my grandma's laughing at him.
Right.
That is a tranquil memory.
All right. So for me, when the group that I drove over here were talking about this, like whenever I'm thinking about my favorite day, it's like immediate. It was my 8th birthday. I got like not only a remote control car, but it was like the A-Team van.
Oh,
so
my
it was
God.
like
Oh, damn.
Yeah, baby.
remote control
That
car.
was last year, right?
And last year. And it was just like I have, 4 siblings. And it was a day that was like just for me. It was like my parents like went out of their way, and it was like focused on me, like the stuff I wanted to do, and like there was no arguing that day. It was just like all around a fantastic day. However, when I sit and listen to you guys talk about like the things that are that make your day special, it brings back all these memories that like I didn't think about. Like Ivo in St. Louis, when I was in the 4th grade in 1980, we had this 4-foot snowstorm. And so not only was school canceled, but we got to go out into the snow, and it was the first time the snow was high enough that we could actually dig tunnels, and we could build igloos out of the snow, and it was just like the greatest time. Chris, when you were talking about like times by yourself, like I don't know that I can think of a good time as a kid where like there was adult interaction. I think that it is like critical that like the kids be like have some independence when they're doing it, except for when it's like something fantastic, like Cassidy, when you're talking about like being able to spend time with your family. Like there's all these different like aspects of all the stuff that we talked about that I am Well, I'm impressed by all of you guys. So, Chris, were you about to say something?
Nah, it's nothing
Oh,
important.
okay. Gotcha. So, thank you guys for sharing. That was all fantastic. Oh, you know what? I didn't get to talk to Alena. Where'd she go? Did she?
Who knows?
Oh, okay.
No, she had the potato.
She did have
Potato head.
I have it
Looking
written
for the
down here.
potato head.
The fucking potato. That's maybe and I thought I knew like all the awesome stories about you, Evo. That's one that I've not heard before, and that might be my favorite one. So, all right, we have literally just reached an hour, so I'm going to call an audible and say we're not going to do what I thought was going to be my favorite question.
That's
Let's
a
do
great
it.
time to finish, but
Right.
I got a
I say
telegram
let's
from
do it.
Susan.
You got
Susan's at. She's at it again.
Has awakened from her hibernation.
Oh no.
I got a telegram from our marketing department. Susan, of course, is our director of marketing. And I got a telegram. I'm going to pull it out here. Let's see what's happening.
It's a long one. Get ready.
All right, so we will be sponsored apparently today. Marketing department has become active again. So, oh wow, this is an old friend that's going to sponsor us today. Kudos to Susan from marketing. She has secured once again the endorsement in person by no other than the Sultan of Sarcasm, the greatest movie critic in the observable universe, His Excellency Vincent von Connoisse, the French film critic Vincent von Connoisse. We were supposed to bring him here by a limousine, or at least an Uber, but apparently due to dwindling marketing finances, he was transported here by a Kardashian chariot. Monsieur Vincent von Connoisseur. There he is. He's here. Welcome to Wednesday Night Undressed. It's nice to have you here. The displeasure is all mine. You vile podcasting, how do you say, excrement? It is a great dishonor to be here. This disgusting establishment is the last place I wanted to visit. I was abducted from my Parisian manor by a bearded lumberjack who claimed his name was Susan. From marketing. Our voyage here was very uncomfortable. He was in an archaic Kardashian chariot Susan had stolen from Nelson Atkins Museum. It was a rough ride, especially across the Atlantic Gulf Stream. Anyway, I decided to sponsor you, how do you say, odiferous douche nozzles? Yes, I will sponsor you because apparently you have slightly more listeners than zero. And that way I can use my superior movie expertise to spread appreciation for cinema all over the... Well, your listener. Go ahead, Louis. What film would you like me to review for your listener?
Let's go with Pretty Woman, released in 1990, directed by Gary Marshall and starring Julia Roberts and Richard Gere.
What a film. The only motion picture that has a screenplay containing only one word. Whore! Yes, well done, Julia Roberts. So inspiring, so motivational for young girls aspiring to succeed. You're such a great role-play model. Look at me, I can get paid to do the boogie woogie, and I can wear more hairspray than Motley fucking Crue. I was so impressed by this film, I wrote a little poem. Oh, I'm so poor, I've got tears. I can't even buy a beer. But be brave and have no fear. Here comes wealthy Richard Gere. He makes gerbils disappear. Hamster there, hamster here. The petting zoo is in his rear. Okay, I am done with this film. Chris, would you like to me to review a movie for your listener?
Why, yes. Please review Dune Part 2. Released this year. Directed by Denis Villeneuve. And starring Timothée Chalamet and Zendaya.
What a film. Listen, if I wanted to watch someone called Timothy Shamalama Ding Dong ride a giant worm, I'd get a subscription for OnlyFans. And Zendaya, I'm tired of you. You are literally everywhere. Films, television, theater, commercials. Enough! And please eat something! You weigh less than Sidney Crawford's fart! What is wrong with you, Zendaya? All right, Marshal, would you like me to review a movie for you, sir?
Yes, of course. I'm really wanting you to review Terminator, released in 1984, written and directed by James Cameron, starring Arnold Schwarzenegger and Linda Hamilton.
Ooh la 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 la! What a film. James Cameron, what a talent. Evil robots from the future. Send back in time a murderous cyborg with a Tyrolean accent and devastating acting disability to kill Sarah Connor, a waitress who will give birth to blah 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 blah. Hey, Cameron boy, how about sending a robot from the future back in time to give your parents a condom? You talentless hack! Here's an intended pun, you avatar bitch. Each of your movies is a Titanic disaster.
Oh, God.
Oh, Cassidy, lovely Cassidy. Would you like me to review a movie?
Yeah. Can you review Ghostbusters, released in 1984, directed by Ivan Reitman and starring Dan
Aykroyd. God almighty.
Bill Murray and Sigourney Weaver.
Oh, Cassidy! Oh, what a film. Yeah, what an achievement. It was so bad it made me vomit food I had eaten in 8th grade. And then I vomited stomach juice and finally some ectoplasma. It gave me a great idea to use a Fermion shock blaster from the movie to obliterate the embassy who directed this abomination. But you achieved your goal, Ivan Reitman. You achieved it. Even the ghosts left the theater. Gone. That's right, even the Phantom of the fucking Opera got scared and had to flee. And to answer your question, a psychiatrist. That's right, that's exactly who I'm gonna call after watching this mind-scrambling mess. All right. Sir, would you like me to review a movie?
Yes, please. Wonka, released in 2023, directed by Paul King, starring once again Timothée Chalamet and Hugh Grant.
Wonka! Oh, la 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 la! What a film. A hyperglycemic pervert luring children with candy to his sketchy twink factory and drowning them in his own fudge. I think the sick fucks who made this film should be locked inside the Bastille and never left out. If I wanted to watch Timothée Shamalama Ding Dong cook crystal meth and straddle little people dressed in lederhosen, I'd subscribe for my fans. Oh, Lauran, would you like me to review a movie, please?
Can you review The Fifth Element, released in 1997, directed by Luc Besson and starring Bruce Willis and Mila Jovovich?
Oh, The Fifth Element! What a film! My own countryman, the great Luc Besson, tried to make a gay Star Wars.
No.
Well, guess what, Mr. Besson? The gay community has spoken. The grade is in. Here it is. LGBTQ plus F minus. That's right, your film reeks. The Fifth Element. We know the four elements: fire, water, earth, and air. Your film answers the eternal question. What is the fifth element? Well, now we know. It's cinematic buffalo excrement. Merci beaucoup, Monsieur Besson. All right, Meredith, would you like me to review a film?
Oh, wait, I'd be absolutely happy to have you review Lady in the Water, released in 2006, written and directed by M. Night Shyamalan, and starring Paul Giamatti and Bryce Dallas Howard.
What a film. The title, of course, refers to every lady watching this movie who, after the first 5 minutes, tries to drown herself. Spoiler alert! The guys in the audience jumping after the lady are not trying to save her. They also want to die. What a splendiferous achievement. If we want to end humanity as we know it, we should encourage in part 2 of Lady in the Water for M. Night Shyamalama Ding Dong to cast Timothy Shyamalama Ding Dong in the main role. We are back to Mr. Lewis. Lewis, would you like me to review a second film?
How about Poor Things, released in 2023, directed by Yorgos Lanthimos and starring Emma Stone, William Dafoe, and Mark Ruffalo.
What a film. Let me see. Emma Stone dies, and her unborn daughter, her brain is transported into her skull. Then her child quickly discovers the irresistible charms of unabashed promiscuity and makes Emma Stone do the boogie woogie with every male and most females in my hometown of Paris. In the meantime, she discovers valuable lessons about social hierarchical diffusion and morality, while quite possibly contracting every venereal disease in the solar system. For the love of God, who wrote this iconic screenplay? Was it Rudy fucking Giuliani? The film also stars William Dafoe, whose character is horribly disfigured, which ironically makes him much better looking than William Dafoe. Mr. Chris, one more movie, please.
Yes, indeed. Please, what is your opinion on Everything Everywhere All at Once? Released in 2022, directed by Daniel Kwan, starring Michelle Yeoh and Jamie Lee Curtis.
What a film. This film, I believe, could only be made by someone who had injected himself with heroin, morphine, LSD, and stem cells from Charlie Sheen's colon. The movie made me want to kill every version of myself in multiple universes, everywhere, all at once. And Alena, please, would you like me to review one movie, one last film?
Absolutely. The amazing La La Land. Sorry, that's not the Oscar winner. Released in 2016, directed by Damien Chazelle, and starring Ryan Gosling and Emma Stone.
Oh, la 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 land! What a film. Oh, yes, Ryan Gosling singing and dancing, making stupid faces and jazz hands. I remember I was bursting with excitement at the prospect of not watching this film. I have one sentence review. This film is so bad, even Captain Hook managed to give it thumbs down. And this is it for me, you podcasting scum. Au revoir. I sincerely hope to never see you again at Murph's Vomitorium.
Yay!
Vincent from Connoisse, thank you, sir, and au revoir.
Thank you, Vincent. And thank you for all of the fantastic guests we have. I'm going to thank you individually. Thank you, Alena. Thank you, Ivo. Thank you, Meredith. Thank you, Fernando. Thank you, Lauran. Thank you,
You're welcome.
Anthony. Thank you, Cassidy.
You're
Thank
welcome.
you, Marshal. Thank you, Chris.
Yo.
I have been Lewis, and this has been another episode of Wednesday Night Undressed.